Good morning, good afternoon, and a happy Monday, guys. Hope everybody is doing well today. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Uh, I know Friday kicked it off with some very good news, and all the wrong people are pissed off about it. So, hey, it was a good weekend. What can I say? I actually had a really good weekend as well. I got to go to a convention for the first time in 2 years, which I was really excited about. Really missed getting to just walk around and be at cons, so hoping to go to many more next year. Looking forward to that. And yesterday I got to see Ghostbusters, which was really fun. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Ghostbusters today, but it will be no spoilers whatsoever, guys. So if you haven't seen it, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But before I get into it and all the fun stuff that we've got to talk about, let me say hi to everybody. So we've got Arwen Avalon. Hello, sweetheart. We've got Brandon, the anime guy. Good morning, Snodderpoopers. Hello. Good to see you. We've got Keely Chow, Roll Tide Keely. We've got Leah Rose. Hello, sweetheart. Good to see you. Let's see. We've got the Bash Brothers. We've got both Chris and Mark. Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you. Hello to Aaron Baker. Good to see you as well. Project Storytime. It says Twitter was glorious to behold this weekend. Indeed. So much salt. So much salt. It was amazing. And well done for being first, Project Storytime. Let's see who else we've got. We've got Jim the Viking. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Good morning, Dave G Sound. Welcome. Let's see who else we've got. Let me scroll up. You guys are busy today. Zeropium, good morning. Good to see you. Mr. Hyde, Script Doctor, good to see you as well. Let's see. Make sure I've not missed anybody. Archer Colin, good afternoon. Good to see you. Right. I think that's everybody so far. I hope so. Ren Zero, good to see you as well. Hello, Ren Zero. So, guys, I think what I'm going to do is just jump straight into it. We were talking on Friday. We were giving Brandon and I were giving our thoughts on Cowboy Bebop and what Netflix did with it. But I have got a little article which I thought was pretty funny to kind of coincide with that. So let me just bring that up and we'll go over it. So this is from Banding Into Comics. A big thank you to them. And this is well, I can't really call her a star, but she was in it. It's Daniella Pineda, and she's doubling down on her previous comments because they went down so well before. But let's see what she's got to say. So, Netflix's Cowboy Bebop star Daniella Pineda, on a previous video response to critics, she says, "I felt like that response was definitely in the spirit of Faye." Did you indeed? So, according to Daniella Pineda, the actress who portrays Faye Valentine in the largely unwanted live-action Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, the criticisms against the changes made to her character were nothing but the work of some very, very vocal trolls. Where have we heard that before, guys? It seems that any criticism that anybody gets that's unwanted or unwarranted in their feeling, it's called just brushed off as being trolls. While her derisive video response to said critics was definitely in the spirit of Faye, well, it's in the spirit of this Faye that she's done. I'm not sure if it's in the spirit of the actual character from the anime. But let's see what else she's got to say. Pineda broached the subject of her infamous video response, in which she replied to fan concerns by sarcastically dismissing their apprehensions during an interview deadline published on November 19th, ostensibly in promotion for the Cowboy Bebop on Netflix. Asked by reporter Daniela Del Rosario for her thoughts on the overwhelming reaction of Netflix's disingenuously reasoned, desexualized take on Faye by longtime fans of the original anime, Pineda asserted it was definitely my first interaction with some very, very vocal trolls. So instead of kind of taking the criticism on board, and it wasn't just her, it was the costume designer as well that didn't want they to look too sexy, basically. But she really went above and beyond with the comments that she made about this character. She goes on to say, social media gives access to pretty much anyone who wants to say anything. Well, duh, she continued. Although I feel like some people would be disheartened, I found a way to clap back with that video that I gave, which was very cheeky and silly. To me, it wasn't cheeky or silly either. It was somebody who didn't like criticism and decided to kind of be snarky and, let's be honest, a bit of a bitch about it, really. Rather than staying quiet, which is what usually everybody wants you to do, I just felt so inclined to say something. I would be curious as to what Netflix thought about her response, but apparently they didn't really care, so whatever. I felt like the response was definitely in the spirit of Faye, she further recalled. I also got Steve Blum's blessing, the voice of Spike, who backed me up. And I was like, all right, guys, I don't care what you say. If that guy backs me up, no one can say anything. I think she'd pretty much made up her mind what she was going to say anyway, so I would say that doesn't really matter either way. Pointing to the praise Pineda received by supporters following the sharing of her video, Del Rosario noted that it must have been nice to see things on your end, to which the actress affirmed, it was really affirming and awesome. So again, as long as people are kissing her ass and saying nice things, she's all for the vocal fans. But whenever people give her criticism, and yeah, to begin with, it was really very mild criticism. People were just saying, she doesn't really look accurate to the character that she's supposed to be portraying. It wasn't until she put this video out that really got people annoyed and turned a lot of people against it, I think. She certainly didn't endear herself to me. And to be honest, having watched it, she's not that good in it, guys. She really isn't. She actually plays a really bad role. So it goes on to say the majority of responses and interactions that I have had were really supportive, she added. It was just easy to see that. But if you love that type of attitude in a cartoon, why wouldn't you love the type of attitude in real life? I think that it was pretty awesome. I think also highly untraditional. See, I would say that dress that she's got on is far more revealing. So why didn't she have an issue wearing that as opposed to the costume? Because at least the costume she would have been covered up, at least on the top, because she wears the jacket. Let's see. Ultimately, Pineda concluded, I didn't even think about it when I was doing it until after the fact. Yeah, right. I also think it was not expected to get any attention at all. A doubtful declaration, given that she explicitly shared her post on her social media account. I think she put it on Instagram, if I remember correctly. Netflix's live-action adaptation, that should have been in quotations, of Cowboy Bebop is now streaming. And like I said, we talked about it on Friday, and honestly, guys, I would skip it. It's really not great. If you haven't seen the anime, I would fully go with what Brandon is saying, watch the anime instead. This is not worth your time at all. And hello, guys. I see Dave Bob in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you. So, and hello to Bully Namans. Good to see you as well. Welcome. Brandon says, the more I dive into this from Crapflix, the more I hate it. Yeah, did you get to finish it by any chance? I did. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I said I would. So, but no, I stick with what we were saying. It's not worth watching, honestly. Archie Collins says, not being familiar with the anime, I might have given Cowboy Bebop a watch, but the comments coming from the creators are making me wonder if it's worth it. Yeah, I would never say to somebody, don't watch this, because that's not what we do. Give it a watch if you feel inclined. I did, and ultimately I did not enjoy it at all. Arwin asks, if they unsexy Faye, then is it really Faye? No, I know the characters are up for interpretation, as they say, but you've got to have some core with the character that you're portraying. And from what I can tell, she really didn't do a very good job, honestly. And hello to Gun Bunny and Paris. Welcome, guys. And Pod Racing Palpatine. Good to see you. Gun Bunny says Shockwave and I are getting a group to go watch Ghostbusters Afterlife on Friday. Nice. Like I said, I won't be doing any spoilers today, so don't worry about that. But I think you're going to have a great time. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Means of Manders. Hello and welcome. Project Storytime says the best part of the Netflix series was the guy from the board web series from VLDL had a bit part. I'm happy for him. That's it. And Keely Chow, Gary, is absolutely correct. Actors are nothing more than adult pretenders. Absolutely. And leading in from that and, silly things that actors have been saying recently, let me ask you guys, who do you think has the absolute worst take at the moment? Which of these actors do you think is the most stupid? I know we've got a lot of them, and most of them seem to be incredibly vocal on Twitter at the moment. I would say it's a toss-up between Pedro Pascal and, of course, Mark Ruffalo, who just cannot stop opening his mouth and putting his foot in it. Coming back to what we were saying over what happened on Friday, and the salt is flowing. Colin says all of them. I'd be inclined to agree with that one. Yeah. And hello, Stigton Kenobi says, hi, Perpy. Hope you're doing well today. I am doing well. Thank you, honey. Hope you're having a good one as well. Leah Rose says, Talasol Purple, I only likes the original Ghostbusters. I love the original Ghostbusters. I even like Ghostbusters 2. Up until this Afterlife came out, I would say it is a worthy third, definitely. But before that, I would have actually said the 2009 game was a really good kind of lead on from those films. That was a great game and had a really good storyline. Oops, hello Ian, so forth, good to see you. He says, oops, it skipped on me. Mark Ruffalo seems to be becoming increasingly unhinged. Yeah, I would say that. I would say that about Stephen King as well. I used to love Stephen King, used to be a really big fan of his, but he steadily became more and more crazy. Mark Hamill, sadly, seems to have gone the same way. Project Storytime brings up two good ones. Patton Oswalt has completely gone off the rails. George Takei has become incredibly bitter, whereas he used to be very funny. I used to follow him on Twitter. I used to, I actually quite like some of his takes. But he just, the older he's gotten, the worse he seems to have been. And he seems to be incredibly jealous of William Shatner, which is unfortunate. Snorter Pooper says Will Wheaton is leading the pack. Wesley's not the only one who sucks. Yeah, it's funny how Will Wheaton seems to have kind of transformed into his character as he's gotten older. Zeropium says everyone. I would agree with that, absolutely. But I know they say don't take Twitter too seriously, but yeah. Brandon says, yep, the game is great from 09. I really enjoyed it. Not that many people seem to have played it, though. A lot of people will just look at you and if you mention that game. But if you can get it, I would recommend it. It's a really good one. Daryl says, been asking this for years. Why would you take stock in a person's word who pretends to be somebody else? They only know how to read a script and not speak for themselves. Indeed, yeah. Actors are just that at the end of the day. They're people who it's their job to pretend to be somebody else. I would never go to an actor to get news, but it is pretty funny to see them all talking on Twitter as though they were some either moral high ground or whether they were experts. It's amazing how many people seem to have not actually paid attention to the trial that went on. they've all got these crazy hot takes, and Pedro Pascal and Mark Ruffalo seem to be right up there, being the worst in mourning the assailants that were taken out, which was a very, very bad look considering what these guys did. It sounds Melody. Hello, good to see you. Dave Bob says biggest bubble in the world. Absolutely. Bully Naymans, it says I get all my news from adult pretender Alec Baldwin. Like when his next shoot is. Hey, I see it. And hello and good afternoon to Pod Racing Palpatine. Good to see you. Moons Amanda says they only listen to mainstream news, which is not news anymore. No, exactly. I've stopped listening to the news pretty much entirely because it seems to be so incredibly biased now. Daryl says I get in trouble at work for pretending to be a Jedi on the job site. Maybe it's the lightsaber duels with shovels. That sounds awesome. Next time, film with Daryl. I'd love to see that. Snorter Pooper says a lot of actors are seriously undereducated narcissists with serious insecurity issues. That I would agree with, and that I've heard a lot of. You know, there are some that, you know, quite old school. I would say people like Morgan Freeman, for example, is very grounded. He seems to be very, very, you know, on the ball. He knows what he's talking about. He doesn't kind of fall for this narrative nonsense. But then he doesn't tend to be in the public eye either. You know, he's somebody who tends to just get on with whatever he has to do. Mark says mainstream news took a major hit this weekend and it's not going to get any better for them. No, indeed, it's not, Mark. We have another trial that's currently going on at the moment that is equally, if not more important, that seems to be kind of being suppressed. I've not seen the same kind of energy and excitement or people talking about it as the Rittenhouse trial. It's Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. This one is arguably more important because of what the repercussions could be. So guys, if you are following it, if it is something that you're interested in, please do keep an eye on it, because there could be huge fallout from whatever happens with this trial. Mark also says Morgan Freeman disassembled Don Lemon was brilliant. I love that interview. Oh my god, the look on Don Lemon's face was wonderful. Brandon says, I wonder why. Indeed, yes, yeah. There's been so much coverage of the Rittenhouse trial that it's been almost, well, not forgotten, but it is ongoing, definitely. So it's something that is incredibly important, given what happened. You know, the worst part is I can't even say his name because I know I'll get struck by YouTube. How bad is that? And hello, everybody. Good to see you. Let's see, what else was I going to bring up today? So, the other thing that I kind of wanted to cover, and yep, Ren Zero, exactly. I generally go to Nick Recader if I want to catch up with legal issues. Me too. His coverage of the trial was brilliant. He did a fantastic job. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, I know generally we don't talk Disney, or we try not to, but I thought that this was pretty funny. So, and this comes from Screen Rant, and apparently Disney executives are in a heated debate over whether to add more adult content. No, not that sort of adult content, I'm guessing, to the D+ streaming service. Or whether they're going to stay more family focused, which is where they, you know, decided to go in the first place. So the article says the Walt Disney Company's streaming service, Disney Plus, is reportedly causing heated debates for the executives on whether the service should include more adult content. Disney Plus is the host for content from the variety of properties owned by the company, such as Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Studios, and others. Having recently celebrated their 2-year anniversary with the disastrous D+ Day, which I thought was hilarious. Why you would use Twitter instead of YouTube to promote that, I don't know. The streaming service has had multiple projects planned for its varying properties. Disney Plus was officially launched on November 12, 2019, after years of acquiring different properties and the end of the previous deal the company had with Netflix. Currently, with over 118.1 million subscribers, the service has been able to thrive with the impressive portfolio of content and the success of its original programs. As D Plus continues to grow, the company has begun to question the direction needed to reach the viewership of other streaming platforms. So, once again, Disney wants a bigger slice of the pie. And to do that, they're trying to decide: do they keep with the family focus, which is what they started out with, or do they branch out? According to a recent story from Puck, the Walt Disney Company's executives are heatedly debating whether the streaming service should include more adult content into their catalogue. Former CEO and current executive Bob Iger reportedly believes the company should stick with the current content and keep with the family, keep it family orientated. However, the current Walt Disney Company CEO, Bob Chapek, claims that the service should expand in order to interest a larger audience after disappointing growth in subscriptions in the fourth quarter. Chapek also claims that D Plus may feature ads someday. Of course it will. Gotta make that money back somehow, guys. While the service has been able to draw in fans for franchises such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars universe, in addition to those for the Disney Channel's original programming and movies, the company has not fully provided the content to which they possess. Multiple adult-orientated franchises, practically anything rated TV, MA, or R, fall without a home on the service. This hinders D Plus from growing subscriptions beyond those of Netflix or Amazon Prime, who offer content to all audiences. Oops, we've got a super chat. Let me scroll up and grab that. Thank you. So a big thank you to MB Geek and good morning. It says, what the media did to Nick Sandman was sick. It pales to what they did to Rittenhouse. They all need to put the needle in him. Yes, I will die on this hill. Yeah, Rittenhouse, I hope, gets exactly the payout that he deserves. It's a trial that was dragged on for way too long. But, like I said, we got the result that we hoped for on Friday. Sharp Melody says, doesn't Disney own Hulu? I believe so, yes. And Zeropium says, still trying to earn some points, Disney? Still no thanks from me. Yeah, I never bothered with it, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of streaming service. Stig says, have some news for you, Purplewood DM. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Snorter Pooper says maybe instead of more adult content, Disney should try hiring some adult writers and producers. Whoa. Let's not go too crazy. Snorter Poopers. That's just nuts. Mark says, I hope to see these monopolies tumble in my lifetime, seeing if the US government won't go after them like it's supposed to. Yes, it does look like that, doesn't it? It's Disney just trying to, as I say, get a bigger slice of the pie. They want to compete with Netflix, they want to compete with Amazon Prime, and probably, at least for me, I think they will eventually add the adult content. I think you will get the more, the R-rated stuff. Now, whether it will be behind a paywall, I guess they would do that as well. So if you want that, you've got to, do a markup or change tariffs or however it is they do it. I'm not sure. Arwen says Disney plus adults just sounds gross. Absolutely. It also goes against the the core of what it was supposed to have been. It was supposed to be family entertainment. That's what they pushed in the first place. Project Storytime says, Purple Valkyrie, did you hear the news? History of the World Part 2 by Mel Brooks is coming to Hulu. Really? I surprised at that, to be honest, because I wouldn't have thought that anything by Mel Brooks would have been allowed to be played in this day and age, not with either being censored or having a warning label slapped on the front of it before the film plays. Let's see. Zerupin says, I sentenced Disney to 101 damnations. Louise says, we get Hulu content on D+ under Star. Okay. I did not know that. And Stig, I see your comment, but I can't read that one out. But yes, most likely. Given his stance at the moment, would anybody be surprised? I don't think so. Let's jump back and see what else they've got to say. So, in February of this year, Star, as Louise says, was added to D+ in some international markets. This featured television and movies orientated for mature audiences from different properties under the Walt Disney Company, such as 20th Century Fox and ABC. Parental controls were included, which I thought would be the case, with the intention of allowing the mature content to remain separate from the family content. It is unclear if this feature will be added to the United States anytime soon. Given the way that they're pushing it, I would say it probably will, to be honest. As the company continues to evolve, so does the idea of what D+ can offer. Whilst changes continue to happen, such as the new Disney plus Marvel banner being added, which was a really lackluster banner. It looked terrible. Others may be necessary for the service. Holding back the content in their possession only hurts the company from surpassing the other streaming services on the market, which ultimately is their goal. It's all about making the profit at the end of the day. While it is important for the Walt Disney Company to honour family values, yeah, right, they built their organisation on, it is important to realise their audience matures and grows. D+ can choose to grow with them, or they can leave them behind, hurting their viewership in the long run. Let's see. Oops, it skips on me. It's like Melody says, to this day I can't drive any car I can't put an I Love Uranus sticker on the back of. True story. Good to know. Oh my god. And yes, Keely, yeah, a little bit too soon. I saw that. Yeah. Oh my god. So what do you think, guys? Do you think that D+ is going to go that way? Do you think they're going to eventually add the adult content? For me, I think it is. I think it is, probably not in the next 6 months, but I think it will definitely be coming eventually. Let's see, what else have we got? I know I said I was going to talk a little bit about Ghostbusters, but instead of talking about the film, because I'm going to avoid spoilers, I'm probably going to cover that on Wednesday, I think. Might see if I can get a panel together of people who have watched it and talk about it much more in depth. Just give people a little bit more time to actually watch it, because I know this week is going to be a big week for that. But we did have a third film before we got Afterlife, and obviously I'm not including the 2016 film in this because, as far as I'm concerned, that film doesn't exist. But there was actually a plan for Ghostbusters 3 that never got made, and this was actually going to be called Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent. It was written by Dan Aykroyd, and this is something that's been around probably for ages. It was written by Dan Aykroyd and Tom Davis, and there are multiple scripts. I even think the script can be found online, if I remember correctly. But this is just one of those films that just got kind of pushed around and talked about, and then it couldn't be decided on, and eventually it never got made. But we do have a little bit of information about what could have been the third film in the franchise before we got Afterlife. Let me just take a drink, guys. My throat's dry. So, the Ghostbusters franchise has seen many iterations since its debut in 1984 with the beloved supernatural comedy. In addition to a 1989 sequel, the franchise has also spawned a 2016 reboot, multiple animated series, and video games, and now a third film in the main series, Ghostbusters Afterlife. The new release continues the story, the 84 original, and brings to end a decade-long effort to produce Ghostbusters 3. While Afterlife covers all the bases in terms of nostalgia and story beats, this film wasn't the first attempt to return to the original universe. So, back in 1999, Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent was announced. It was a passion project for Dan Aykroyd, but no matter how hard he tried, he just could not get this thing off the ground. He pushed it, and there were rewrites, and then he changed the script, and he went to different people to try and get it greenlit. He really wanted this film to go ahead, but sadly it didn't happen. The first draft of Ghostbusters Hellbent was finished in '99 by Aykroyd, who first publicly mentioned it 5 years earlier that he had a film idea. The complete story hasn't been revealed. Over the years, a rough idea of the plot has come to light, though. The Ghostbusters, who would be now significantly older, would have ventured into a previous unexplored spirit realm. The original film wasn't afraid to mirror scripture. Specifically, it references the Book of Revelation, with the influx of paranormal activity preceding the return of Gozer. In Aykroyd's third installment, the parallel goes even further, and it actually had a version of hell that they wanted to introduce. Project Storytime says F. Bill Murray. MB Geek Jesse, thank you, honey. He sends us another $10 super chat. Thank you. It says, my daughter and grandson, who lives near St. Louis, a place that has riots when court choices do not go their way. It was all over social media about it if it did not go its way, and riots and blood in the streets. Yeah, they were really pushing this whole idea, this narrative that, if it didn't go the way, people were going to kick off. And of course, they were wrong. But this isn't the first time that mainstream media has tried to whip up a frenzy about this. You just go back to thinking what they did with the Joker film, for example, how they talked about it, how they thought this is going to incite people, and it didn't. It was just a good film. So yeah, don't listen to the mainstream media, guys. It's not worth it. But a big thank you to MB Geek. Much appreciated. Thank you. And Troy Pixelli says, did I hear Disney Plus and adult content? You did indeed. Yes. Indeed, you did. Probably not that adult content, but yeah, I'm thinking more adult films. And Project Storytime, I'll check. Thank you. I'll have a look. Buddy Neyman says, considering that the D plus day made the stock dip, I'm sure they'll change direction. They would never double or triple down, right? Indeed. Yeah. Like they said in that article, it was a disastrous day for them. And hello to Debun Martin. Good to see you. Says, sorry I'm late. Having morning meetings this week. Hail, everybody. Hail to you too. And hello to Zax as well. Good to see you. He says, Disney will add a new adult-orientated channel, just the D to go with D+. Don't give them any ideas. Renzira says Ghostbusters 3 has been around for ages. The idea of Ghostbusters 3 has been around for ages, but it was never made. Yes. Oops, and it skipped on me. Oh. Let's see. Let me jump back to where I was. So, whoops, there we go. So, going back to Ghostbusters, it would have had their version of hell, so they really could have. I like the idea that it was going with. I think it would have been cool. But let's see what else they say. Certain aspects of the film stick out as something genuinely ambitious, such as its interpretation of hell, which is more like a film negative charged with dark energy. The Ghostbusters travel to hell version of Manhattan, called Manhattan. That's really bad. Because this realm has become overfilled and is spinning ghosts into New York City. Another interesting aspect is that the team were also going to meet the devil, who, of course, is described as a Donald Trump like character named Luke Sifler, or Lucifer. Yeah, I don't think so, Dan. I begin to see why this film didn't get made. In the years of planning, Hellbent was framed as passing of the torch, similar to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Whilst the original team would still be present in some capacity, many ideas were floating around over who the team's successors would be. Early in the writing process, Chris Farley, who was heavily considered for a role as a Ghostbuster, following Harley's death in '97, Aykroyd and Harold Ramis went in different directions. That's a polite way of saying it, considering actors like Jeff Daniels and Jason Alexander, who could have also been part of the team. The film's goal was to have these Ghostbusters work as part of a Ghostbusting corporation, headed by Ray Stantz, and carry on from the original team, following their hellish adventure. Even more names were thrown around as the years continued. People such as Chris Rock and Ben Stiller were mentioned. However, the film never got off the ground soon enough, causing these plans to fall through. It sounds like they had so many things that they wanted to do with this film, but it never quite managed to stick. Throughout the many drafts of Hellbent, one constant was that Bill Murray had no interest in returning as Peter Venkman. That doesn't really come as a surprise. There was even a report that Murray refused a 5-minute walk-on role, which led Aykroyd to work on the script without Venkman. Ultimately, it boiled down to a poor script that would need a lot of work. When Murray finally indicated that he would consider participating, it was on one condition. Venkman had to be killed off early on in the film and remain a ghost for its duration. That demand ultimately didn't matter, however, because Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent never made it out of pre-production. And hello, Rogue Disney. Good to see you. Welcome. Good morning. And hello to Sherry. Renzura says, reminds me of the original idea for Star Trek V, Shatner versus Satan. Project Storytime says, didn't the real Ghostbusters cartoon have the Meet the Devil? I can't remember, to be honest. Possibly. I don't remember the cartoon that well. Zeropian says, all I can picture is the Ghostbusters as 4 Doom guys, rage running through the realms, blowing crap up. And that actually sounds pretty awesome. That I would have watched. Ian Surforth says, Manhattan, facepalm. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought as well. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was bad. Let's see what else they've got to say about this. Whoops, it skipped on me. There we go. So, Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent was an ambitious undertaking that would have likely made the film amongst the biggest special effects extravaganzas of its time. However, fate had other plans. Whilst it seems like casting issues would be only one reason it failed to launch, there was another component that kept the team from busting ghosts again. A major factor was that Hellbent's project budget was $120 million, which is nearly $200 million in today's money. Following the box office success of the phenomenon of the Blair Witch Project, which cost somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000, Sony Pictures wanted to try a similar approach with Ghostbusters 3. Unfortunately, that was the final nail in the coffin for that project. That I could see there was no way you could have done a film as ambitious as this on such a small budget. It would have looked terrible. The effects, the practical effects, the CGI would have looked absolutely horrendous. especially if you wanted to do a kind of dark version of New York. That I think could have looked great had they done it properly, but yeah, not on a shoestring budget. Project Storytime says Ray wouldn't work as the head of the Ghostbusters Corporation. He was the heart. Peter was the business mind. I agreed. Absolutely. Snorter Pooper says Bill Murray was one of those middle grade actors who takes himself way too seriously. I like Bill Murray. I like him as an actor. I think as a person, from what I've heard, he's incredibly difficult to work with. Ren Zero says Sony going for a cheap option. I'm so surprised. Indeed. And apparently Murray and Ramis had a huge falling out, which was the cause of all that. That's what I've heard as well. Yeah, pretty much they just had a massive bust up, and that was the end of it. Creative differences, I think, were cited. That's probably the most polite way to put it. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So, this is from Project Storytime. Big thank you to Project Storytime. He mentioned earlier that History of the World Part 2 is going to be on Hulu, which I am incredibly surprised with. But let's just have a quick look. So, this comes from Variety. History of the World Part 1 is finally getting a Part 2, with Hulu ordering a Variety series follow-up to the classic Mel Brooks comedy film. Huh. Variety has learned exclusively. History of the World Part 2 is described as a sequel to the 1981 film. The film was made up of segments set during different periods of world history. Among those were Stone Age, Ancient Rome, and the French Revolution. Like most of Brooks's work, it also featured musical numbers, including one about the Spanish Inquisition. I love the film. God, that was such a good film. We need more Mel Brooks. Brooks is a writer and executive producer on the series, along with Nick Kroll. Not a big fan of Nick Kroll, got to admit. Wanda Sykes. Let's see. There is no word yet on which world events the series will cover. Hulu has ordered 8 episodes of the show. The writer's room is beginning in October, with production slated to begin in spring 2022. Searchlight Television and 20th Television will produce. So Brooks said, I can't wait once more to tell the real truth about all the phony baloney stories the world has been conned into believing are history. Brooks is a comedy legend and EGOT winner, wrote and directed History of the World Part 1, in addition to appearing on screen in 5 different roles. These included King Louis XVI, his doppelganger, as well as a philosopher. Let's see what else it says. I don't know how to feel about this, to be honest. Project Storytime. I mean, it's great that Brooks is attached to it and that he's writing for it, but I don't know. Do you think they're really going to let him get away with some of the jokes that he's done in previous films? I'm not convinced. Moons and Madness says, so glad Brooks is writing. I just hope he doesn't hold back. I don't know whether it would be him holding back or whether it would be other people holding him back. I don't know. I thought that, he would have been cancelled by this time. Mark says, you can, but put a warning stamp on it. Yeah. Snorter Pooper says, can't see Brooks's humour flying with today's woke crowd in Hollywood. You know what? I'd be inclined to agree. 10 years ago, maybe, I could see it being made. I don't know. Can you even make a Mel Brooks film nowadays? Ren Zero says. Had I not just read this, I would have said no. I would have said that he is a relic and that his form of comedy just is of a bygone age. I don't know. Project Storytime, The Inquisition. What a show. Yes. Hmm. And 15. We have 15 commandments. 10. We have 10 commandments. God, I love that. Brooks would break their brains. Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking back to some of the films that he's done. I mean, Spaceballs. I don't know, guys. Do you think that that he'll be given free reign, or do you think that this is a case of he's going to be kind of held back? Zeropium says, I think if Brooks is getting bounced around and being told what he can and can't do, he'll likely say, screw it. I'd be inclined to agree. Darfalina, Blazing Saddles, exactly. There is no way you could make another Blazing Saddles, not today. Moons and Manda says, can someone make a Brooks film today? Someone has to, so we can break out of this woke trend. Well, to be fair, if anyone can do it, it's Mel Brooks, you know. How old is Mel Brooks, though? He's got to be in his mid-90s or later. He's getting on in years. Blazing Saddles would so be cancelled today. Yeah, it would. It really would. I'm just waiting for, you know, all the woke people on Twitter to find this film and really go nuts on it, and we can just sit back and laugh. Pod Racing Palpatine says, I like how John Cleese cancelled himself at Cambridge University appointments. That was pretty funny. That I saw on Twitter, yeah. John Cleese gets it. He knows exactly what's going on. You know, I think he saw what happened to poor Teddy Gillingham and was like, nope, I'm out. But John Cleese is another one that, you know, he's very no nonsense. He doesn't go into this whole cancel culture or, you know, wokeness. If comedy is supposed to be funny, it's funny. You know, people will get the joke. Mark says, I hope Dave Chappelle is part of that movie. That would be pretty cool. Can you imagine? Oh, that would make some people's heads blow up. Absolutely. Arwin says, yes, JWs would so loudly it would break the sound barrier. Pod Racing Palpatine, Richard Pryor had a hand in writing Blazing Saddles. Yes, he did. And Mel Brooks is 95. Thank you, Chris. I thought he was in his 90s. Well, I hope he does it, and I hope it's awesome. I will keep an eye on it. Thank you, Project Storytime. But yeah. Let's just see if there's anything else in this article worth pulling up. They're just talking about the other people who were co-signed to it. What else have we got? So Brooks's comedy films are consistently ranked among the best of all time, such as Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, The Producers, and Spaceballs. He later adapted both The Producers and Young Frankenstein as critically acclaimed stage musicals. He's also produced several hit films, most notably David Lynch's The Elephant Man. That's a good film. I love that film. We will see. I think this is something that I'm going to have to keep an eye on. I would love to say that I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and that this is going to be brilliant and it's going to, you know, be a giant middle finger to woke culture. But I'm very cautious about this, guys, I've got to admit. And hello, Daniel. Good to see you. It says hello, Purple. Hello. Good afternoon, honey. Oh my god. Moon says he created the old Get Smart series too. Great show. I've never seen that, actually. Pod Racing Palpatine said he's talking about John Cleese, an appointment to speak at university. They saw he'd previously cancelled a guest for impersonating Hitler, as he had done in Monty Python. So he said the same rules apply and goodbye. Oh, yeah. Like I said, John Cleese is very no nonsense when it comes to that sort of thing. He's not gonna, you know, wait around to be cancelled. If he doesn't feel that he's welcome there, he'll just not do it, which was the case in the end. Project Storytime says, have no idea what to make of this news. If anyone cannot be controlled in Hollywood, it's Mel Brooks. I would be inclined to agree, to be honest. Project Storytime, I think he's never been one to kind of bend the knee. He's always done pretty much what he wanted to do with his films, and I think at 98, at 95 rather, you're going to be very hard pressed to get him to change his mind. This could be obviously the last thing that he ever makes. I'm actually surprised that it's in the works. It's not something that I would have seen coming, to be honest. But I hope it's good. If it is, I'll be the first to sit down and watch it. Isharth Melody said, I loved Elephant Man. Used to be on Saturdays during Superhost in Cleveland. Nice. I like the film. I think it's really good. It's got John Hurt in. You can never go wrong with John Hurt. Chris Persia said he also managed to turn Spaceballs into a cartoon. And Renzira says, let's be honest, it won't be purple. Yeah, but like I've said before, hope springs eternal, guys. What can I say? I'm an optimist. I just want good entertainment. And I do genuinely really love Mel Brooks. I think he's very talented. I love his films. Zeropian says, and it had Anthony Hopkins in back when he had hair. Yes, absolutely. Buddy Neyman's Spaceballs 2, Quest for More Money. Oh, God, I wish that film had been made. Oh, good. Well, guys, what do you think? I will keep an eye on this. Big thank you to Project Storytime for sending that. I don't know what to make of that news. Like I said, I'm surprised. I'm shocked that this is the case. But it is Mel Brooks, so fingers crossed. And Darfanina says Robin Hood Men in Tights was good. It was. That's a really good film as well. I love those films. I love all of his films, I've got to admit. But I think it's a toss-up between Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein for my favourite of his. So, guys, and hello to Palace. Thank you. Says great show. You're welcome. Thank you. Stig says there's news in your inbox, Purple. All right, honey. Let me check. Oh my God. Thank you for that. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So he has sent me one more thing. Let me pull this up and have a look at it while we're talking. He says, so we've just got a link. A video game based on Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melbourne is in the works. Oh, Lord. Okay. Let's have a look. In celebration of Elric, is the 60th anniversary, a video game adaptation of Moorcock's literary character is in the works. Okay. Which one? Swedish developer Runeter have acquired the rights to create a narration action game based on the first 6 books of the Elric saga. Runeter will collaborate with Aurora Punks and a UK-based studio, Upstream Arcade. Can't say I've heard of them, to create the game. Moorcock will also be taking part in the development of the game. That's a good sign. Although it's unclear how involved his role will be. Well, let's hope it's quite involved. Creative director Yasin Hilberg said, Elric is my favourite fantasy character, and it feels absolutely amazing that Elric will finally come to life in a video game. Moorcock said, for many years I've looked forward to seeing Elric translated into a state-of-the-art video game, and it at last looks as if Runeter are going to bring that dream to fruition. I'm sure they will make the best possible game. We will see. So Elric first appeared in Moorcock's novella, The Dreaming City, published back in 1961, and the character is the last emperor of the Malnabon civilization. So it just goes on to give a little bit of backstory about the character. Let's see if there's anything else. So it talks about the books, and there's been comic book adaptations which they talk about. Now Elric, it's one of those. It's very, very popular, but I think it's a little bit kind of forgotten about now. which is a shame. It just goes on to say that the game is expected to be released on PC and consoles in 2024. Doesn't give that much information about the game at the moment, but I guess it's only just been announced. So that's one to keep an eye on as well, because I really do like the books. I like Moorcock's characters. Let's see. Stig says, imagine being named Craven Moorcock, though. Really bad. Zeropium says, just don't cyberpunk it. Oh, please, please, please don't cyberpunk it. Yes. Arwin says, love Elric. God, I hope they don't pooch it up. Me too. Elric was ripped off by The Witcher. Elric's been ripped off by quite a lot of things. Even I will admit that my favourite video game franchise, Legacy of Kain, has some pretty big similarities story-wise to the Elric saga. Now, whether that was intentional or not, it's hard to say. And hello to Cam Cam. It says, hope you're having a great day. Doing well, thank you, honey. Doing well. Hope you are too. Renzura says 2 years, a pretty short dev cycle for a AA game. Yes. And Snorter Pooper says my first D&D campaign was derailed by a DM obsessed with Elric. It became very grim and dark. I can imagine, yes. I can imagine it took a very dark turn if that was the case. These are pretty serious books. These aren't the kind of light-hearted fantasy novels. I'd love it. I suppose if it was in the vein of The Witcher, that would be pretty cool. But another one to keep an eye on. So, guys, we've got some interesting stories and kind of things that I really didn't see coming. We've got more Mel Brooks. We've got a Elric game in the works, which it's either going to be cool or it's going to be a huge disaster. And Captain Spire, hello, honey. He says, I hope you're all looking forward to a happy Thanksgiving. Yes, absolutely. To all my American friends, I hope you guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving this week. And good afternoon, Adega. Good to see you as always. Good afternoon, hon. So, guys, let me say a massive thank you to everybody who joined today. You guys are the best as always. I will be back on Wednesday. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a panel together. We're going to have everybody who's seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we're just going to kind of go into detail and give our thoughts on it. I think that would be pretty cool. Give people a little bit longer to go see the film if you're looking forward to it, or if you haven't seen it yet. I would definitely recommend it. We'll also be back on Wednesday with Pink and Purple in the afternoon. This time we'll be on the lovely Arwin's channel. So, guys, hope to see you there. And then we'll be back on Friday as usual. So, lots to do this weekend. Hoping to get a couple more shorts done. I made a couple and then realised that the sound was off, so I've had to completely remake them. So I'm going to try again today and tomorrow and get those out. Big thank you to everybody who joined today. You guys are the best as always. Oops, it skipped on me. Colin said, what did Colin say? He said, Moons of Madness said, fun stream. Thank you, honey. He says, Purple, let's not forget that tomorrow is Doctor Who's birthday. Indeed. And a happy birthday to Doctor Who. Oh, thank you, Arwin, honey. Good to see you as always. And Bully says, make sure you seek out my nerdy home. Absolutely, yeah. Big thank you to everyone who sent super chats today. You guys are the best as always. Oops, and just before we go, a huge thank you to Ian So4. Thank you, sweetheart. He sends us a £5 super chat. It says, cheers, Purple. Cheers to you too, Ian. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday as always. So, guys, have a great rest of your day. I will see you hopefully tomorrow morning in the chat. If not, see you on Wednesday. Have a wonderful rest of your day and look after each other. Take care, guys, and thank you.